Hello, good afternoon. This is Victor Gao. It's my great honor to attend this very important webinar. When we talk about governance, I think it's in the overall context of President Xi Jinping's four global initiatives of civilization, of security, of governance, as well as of development. For us, all these global initiatives are inherently interconnected and reinforcing each other. Therefore, it is important to emphasize one point to start with. That is, what is the world we are living in? What is the international order we are living in? I would say, when we go back to the original intent of the founding of the international order back in 1945, after defeating Nazi Germany and Japanese fascism, the world order established in 1945 was meant to be multipolar and multilateral, as reflected in the composition of the Security Council of the United Nations, with 5 permanent member states, each with a veto power, including China. China was a founding member of the United Nations from the very start. China actually was the first country to sign the United Nations Charter. Therefore, China has no problem with the international order we are living in if it is reflecting the original intent of multipolarity and multilateralism. And it is the other country which has changed along the way. It holds itself out as the sole unipolar in the world. It wants to dictate its terms to the rest of the world. Therefore, if there is any problem, China has problem with this changing nature that's one country that is about to bring about. And China really wants to bring the international order to the original intent. Now, when we talk about governance, we cannot talk about the governance without fundamental points like process, procedure, and the structure, or sometimes hierarchy, for example, and the division of work and the division of responsibilities. We also need to really define what will be the ultimate goal of this governance. Now, in the world of today, we actually see very dangerous signs developing. For example, this wanton wrecking of free trade is a major problem. And this repositioning of the world from multipolarity to unipolarity is very dangerous. And for some country to hold a gun at the head of all the other countries is very dangerous. And for one big country to make decisions which have a direct impact on all the other countries, and the decisions will be judged by an appeal court in that country, not in Pakistan, not in Europe, not in the Middle East, but back in the United States of America, to be illegal and sometimes unconstitutional. This is shocking. I think all of us need to be disturbed that the acts enforced by that particular government to be held illegal by its own appeals court. Now, the fact that that government has rushed the situation to the attention of the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court of the United States has rushed out to schedule an urgent hearing on this particular case, is also of great importance, because I think the world now is at a threshold as to what to expect from the Supreme Court of the United States. If it holds to uphold the decision of the Appeals Court of the United States, hopefully the Trump global tariff war will lose a lot of its steam, and it may even collapse on its own weight. But God forbid, if the Supreme Court of the United States decides in favor of President Trump and his government, most likely President Trump and his government will redouble their ferocity in bringing about the full weight of this global tariff war against the interests of many countries in the world. So we are at a crossroad. We cannot talk about governance as if it exists in a vacuum. We need to think about these governance issues in the overall context of this challenge to international order based on multipolarity and multilateralism, a direct challenge and a frontal attack on free trade, for example, and taking actions on massive scale with global impact, which are judged by its own appeals court as illegal. So I think we need to bear all these major points in mind when we talk about governance, etc. Fortunately, China, I think, is doing the right thing, thinking about the overall benefits for mankind as a whole, rather than using any unilateral thinking or unilateral action which may actually challenge the international law, international structure based on multipolarity and multilateralism. Therefore, I think what China brings about onto the table is a sign of rationality, a sign of wisdom, a sign of very much caring for each other, rather than really dictating its unilateral wish as if it should be enforced onto the other countries. Therefore, before I wrap it up, I just want to say all these global initiatives about civilization, security, governance, and development are integrated together. And we cannot talk one in disregard of the others, and we cannot talk about each of these initiatives or all of these four initiatives as if they exist in a vacuum. I think the megatrend in the world remains that development should be the hard truth, and we all need to treat each other as an equal. We all need to rally around the center of the United Nations based on multipolarity and multilateralism. We all need to really accuse and condemn war of all kinds and uphold each other's sovereignty and territorial integrity and independence of all countries. And on that basis, when we talk about governance, when we talk about major decision-making in the world, we need to deal with them with all the care, all the prudence that's required, and we need to absolutely uphold the international order as a civilized order, rather than allowing it to go back into the laws of the jungle and to allow any single country to claim to be the unipole or unipolarity of the world and try to strike fear in so many other countries in the world. Before I wrap up, one final point. It seems that one particular president and one particular big country seems to take great delight in striking fear in others. But fear is not respect. And fear most likely will trigger countermeasures. And fear will trigger retaliation. Fear is not long-lasting. You cannot strike fear as if fear will hold your opponent or friends or foes alike in perpetual fear. And respect is the most important thing. But respect is so difficult to take, but so fast to lose. So again, I hope when we talk about governance, we will talk about how to earn respect, how to make sure respect is long-lasting, and how to avoid any country striking fear in all the other countries or try to create dominance based on fear. I don't think the rest of the world wants to live in fear. We want to live in peace and in harmony and enjoy the benefits of development and enjoy the light of a civilized world rather than laws of the jungle. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Gao, for sparing time to deliver this lecture. Definitely, you pointed out two things very important. One, the global governance is on the crossroad. So we have to decide about what should be the right way. And second, fear is not sustainable. It's a very short-lived and is followed by destruction. So we need to decide about either we have to move forward with fear or with the respect.